Welcome back to more Let's Play Metroid Prime. Last time, we got all sorts of goodies, including the Morph Ball, bombs, and, well, several missile expansions. Today, we're going to put those bombs and other goodies to use. 'Cause after all, we have these nice little, areas to show off our new bombs, which allow us to drain the water. Should we, there we go, get through the little area here, we can come on down and access this other, I guess, pump that we saw, or well, scanned earlier, that said it was malfunctioning due to water. There we go. Now, normally it's a lot easier to traverse with normal Samus than it is the Morph Ball here, because, well, unlike in the remake, you can't jump with the Morph Ball, being able to only use bombs. Ow. Oh, Shriek Bats, how I love you. But, as I was saying, although you can't jump with the Morph Ball, you can still use bombs to effectively jump with it, though it's not nearly as quick or easy as it would be, say, in the remake. And notably, with the timer, although it sounds incredibly strict, as you can see, even with me taking damage and effectively messing around there, we still were able to open that area up and get through everything on time relatively easily. So it's not as strict as it might feel. And what do we have here? The machine is now fully functional. Very nice. And here, the machine connected to this slot is currently functioning. This slot has turned itself on. Very nice. Otherwise, now that we've done all of that, we can come back out here, and seeing as all that nasty toxic water is drained and these platforms are rose, or I guess risen, we can go through the door, and there won't be too much for you up ahead. As you can see, there's a Morph Ball area and this track here. Magnetic rail system track detected. It appears to be active. Spider ball technology required to access track. That's something we don't have nor will have for a fair little moment. But, although we can't go that way, we can come through here and find another energy tank, which is extremely useful. Thank goodness. And, notably, what the heck is this room? Looks like some sort of kill, maybe? I mean, you can't really scan anything, so oh well, I guess. At least we got an energy tank out of the deal. Not bad, even if it does leave us with a few questions. Anyways, roll on back. And at this point, well, we have all sorts of nice upgrades. The Morph Ball, bombs, and missiles. And come on, door. There we go. Poor GameCube having to load and read all that data off the disc. I get it. But with all of our new upgrades, we should be able to progress back in the main tree room. Ooh, and right here, we can blow open this little sandstone, blow it open again, and effectively skip all of those pesky I-beams, which is pretty darn useful. Hello, Shriek Bats. But now that we have all of our items and upgrades, we can go through the main tree area. Now, something you can obviously hear is there's an item up here. With bombs, you can try to set up what's known as a bomb jump to get this kind of early, but even then, it's pretty hard to do, so I wouldn't really recommend it. We'll come back through here later anyways when backtracking in order to get that, so I would just wait then rather than trying to cheese it and get it earlier. Otherwise, while we're here, may as well take us a nice little save. After all, won't hurt at all. Beautiful. And, oh, hello, Jerry. Hi, buddy. Here. All right, there we go. So, now that we're back, seeing as my kitty needed some attention, let's continue on going. And with all of our new upgrades, bombs included, we should be able to come back, hello Reapervine, into this main room here. And we should be able to clear everything out and get to our first real boss fight. Not to say the other ones weren't, but oh, whoopsies. Again, not to belittle them or diminish them, but they didn't have the proper health bars and probably were a little closer to mini bosses more than anything. So, you know. Still, all good. Ow. Otherwise, let's see. I want to say one of the other runes is somewhere. Oop, that's the tree, which, to be fair, we didn't scan. Vast portion of tree's cellular structure have been consumed by toxins distributed through source water. Also, it's weird that it says vast portions of trees cellular rather than the trees, but whatever. It's probably a weird grammatical thing. And of course I jumped the second the vines are back. Wouldn't have any other way. Well, otherwise, if I can make the jump, my goodness. There we go. Want to say the next rune is, yep, right here. Runic symbol's been activated. We know the deal at this point. Activate 4 to move on. Otherwise, get rid of that war wasp nest. And right here is the reason we couldn't have progressed earlier this way. We needed bombs in order to destroy those bricks. So, now that they're out of the way, the rest should be rather simple. And I want to say, aha, war wasp nest. Get rid of that. Suck up all these goodies. And as you can see, the charge beam tractor beam is really good. It says it's limited in range, but honestly, it really doesn't feel like it. And right here's the third runic symbol. And I want to say, yeah, right here we can actually read the entry for venom weeds. It's a poisonous plant that retracts into the ground if threatened. Venom weeds evolve to thrive in the habitats of large organisms. They lure prey with brightly colored leaves, then detain it with tiny barbs that deliver a powerful toxin. Venom weeds rapidly decompose anything that succumbs in their midst. So yeah, although you couldn't identify them earlier, you can identify them here, which is super useful. I find that's pretty much the easiest place to do it, so may as well grab them there and never worry about it again. Because I don't believe they ever really show up in too many other places. There's a handful, like I believe literally right in front of us, once we activate the final and fourth rune symbol here. But past that, and really these areas, I can't think of too many places that they actually show up. So, make sure to grab them now, just that way you don't forget later. Blow up that little covering using our bombs, and they even want us to use some missiles, which, hey, fair enough. And yeah, see, they're also right here, so if you didn't scan them before, you can scan them here. And there's even some tiny little Reaper Vine there. Kinda cute. Annoying, if nothing else. And to be honest, I'd normally just kind of run through the room. And, ooh, can we scan this? No, we cannot, unless I'm just too close. Nope, doesn't look like it. Alright, so be it. Get rid of you, and you, and you. Gonna scan that? No. Well, it was worth a shot. Still, looks kind of like a bug of some sort? Otherwise, feel free to blow open the crates here for some goodies, because trust me, you're gonna want them with what's to come. So while the Parasite Queen was our first technical boss, disregarding her being the tutorial, here comes our first real boss without all of our upgrades. And let me tell you, as a kid, this thing both terrified and annoyed me. This here is Flogra. Morphology, Flogra. This mutant plant is the source of toxic water in the ruins. Flogra's growth cycle has been radically accelerated. As a result, it requires near constant exposure to solar energy to remain active. This exposure has made Flogra's outer shell thick and durable. Its lower root system is unprotected and vulnerable, however. Exploit this flaw when possible. concentrated weapon fire can daze it for short periods. That is the trick to fighting Flagra. Using your normal shots, or ideally, a charge beam, staying locked on, and then shooting the back of those little solar panels that drop will be the key to victory. Because once you knock them all up and no longer provide Flagra with sunlight, you can morph ball in here and blow up the roots, burning it alive. Now, for you keen-eyed viewers out there, it might be rather obvious. 4 solar panels, probably 4 times we're going to have to do this, adding 1 each time. Now, to be fair, when I was a foolish young child, I didn't really understand that very well. So, yeah. Now, what you should do is lock onto her, or it, I suppose, and then do a bunch of side steps in order to move really quickly. It also conveniently is the same lock-on angle that you need for shooting the solar panels, so it works out really well. Now, notably, you can also use missiles to daze Flagra as well, which is really useful. The only issue is that we don't have a lot of missiles to use to daze her, so be sparing on that. Generally, a good way to do the fight is use 2 charge shots to stun her initially, do a bunch of dashes while charging your charge beam, and then knock up all the different solar panels. That usually is going to see you through most of the fight. It's only once you have to deal with all 4 that you're probably going to re-knock her down in order to get the 4th one without it knocking them back. I keep saying knocking them down. Technically knocking them up without it knocking them back down to re-expose it to sunlight. Bit of a weird wording there, but you get the idea. That's also the reason you want to stun Flagra, is that if you don't, it'll re-up the solar panels, which makes it a pain. So what I would recommend is starting with the old bread and butter. Once it's undazed, use the missile technique I taught you. Use charge shots to get the final panels up, like so. And that should pretty much be all she wrote. I also like if you're already a morph ball, when it falls, it knocks you into the air. It's a really cute detail. But yeah, that's all of Flagra. And honestly, pretty simple fight that child me couldn't figure out for the life of him. Because again, I wasn't a terribly smart kid. And granted, I was at an age where I couldn't read. So, you know, it's not exactly like I wasn't trying to play the game, but you get the idea. And with Flagra defeated, not only does the water return to normal, but it turns out they had the Varia suit. And let me tell you, man, oh man, is this exciting. Because although we weren't missing it for long, man, is it going to be so good to have it back. Much better. That is the iconic Samus we know and love. Varia suit acquired. Dangerous areas of heat are now accessible. Additional data has been downloaded to the inventory screen. Now, for an interesting little bit of Metroid trivia. In Metroid 1, although you gain missiles, bombs, the morph ball, different beams, and even different suits, Samus's appearance never changes in terms of her sprite, at least not for how it physically looks. The coloring does change. In Metroid 1, Samus never had the big shoulder pads. It was actually Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, on the Game Boy, of all things, that showed Samus with these arm pads for a very big reason. The original game was on the Game Boy, which could display a whole green, black, and a greenish gray color. So changing Samus's color scheme to show that she got a new suit upgrade wasn't exactly applicable. So, what the clever developers decided to do was to change her sprite and give her shoulder pads, which was a very noticeable and big change for her. The design has since stuck, and frankly, it's quite iconic. I don't think you'd think of Samus the same if she didn't have those big ol' basketballs on the sides of her arms, but since Metroid 2, she's always had them. Now, although it does increase your defense and you can go into heat, it doesn't increase your water mobility, like at all. So, if you want some extra mobility in water, you're gonna need a different suit. Ooh, and here we have our final energy recovery unit, Ultra Energy. Replenishes 100 units of energy. And I want to say these missiles are normal. Yeah. So, grab them up and continue on your merry way. They are darn useful. And here, we have a new enemy. Morphology, Pulse Bombu. I love these things' names. Bombu is so cute sounding. Life form of raw energy, periodically releases explosive segments from its body. Pulse Bombus are energy beings, invulnerable to most known weapons. Electrical energy can harm them. However, they lack any intelligence beyond an instinctive attraction to other charged energy sources. Pulse Bombus produce energy constantly. All excess energy is shed, regardless of who or what may be nearby. So it's as the game says. Try as you might to shoot it, missile it, or even charge beam it, you can't hurt it. And notably, should you try the charge beam, you'll only attract it. So, you gotta be careful. And wouldn't you know, down here is a bit of a point of no return. If you want to get back to that boss room, you're going to need to be able to use those spider ball tracks we've been seeing, which unfortunately, well, we don't have the ability to do. The other mean thing is that they put you in a room with a bunch of war wasps. Kind of rude. So, not only is the spider ball track in our way, but if we look up, this decorative object is obstructing the path along a magnetic track. 4 runic symbols adorn its surface. Matching symbols within this area must be scanned to gain access here. So not only do we not have the upgrade to scale it, we also need to find the 4 runes, which I'll let you know you cannot find right now. You can find 2 of them, but there are 2 that are inaccessible. So instead, let's translate some Chozo script, shall we? The world of living things feels strange to us, we who have existed so long on the edges of time and space. It is clear now that we Chozo can never return to our dimension, not while the great poison reaches ever further into the planet. It is so powerful, this creeping evil, that our wills are crumbling and our minds beginning to fall. And so, before it is too late, we now make our last stand. We have begun to build a temple to contain this darkness. At its heart, we will place a cipher, a mystical lock powered by 12 artifacts and filled with as much power as we Chozo can harness in our ethereal states. Even when we are done, it may be too late. And so for those of you who have been paying attention to the overarching story, there is a great poison hurting this planet. And while our main goal may seem to hunt Ridley and the space pirates, it's actually going to be to deal with that poison. Still, now we know. Here, we have an elevator that leads us to our next area, Magmore Caverns North. Though, you'd be a bit remiss to step into that now, because if you look on the map, we've been to this room before. This is the room that leads us to where we fought the Hive Totem. And if you remember right here, there's an area we couldn't get to with just the Morph Ball. We needed the bombs. So, if we take this route, we can now backtrack a bit and gain some new items. And if we go a little further beyond even than that, there's yet another missile expansion that we can grab while here. So, may as well go all the way back while it's convenient and grab it now. You could wait until later when you have a couple other new items to make traversal even a little easier, but frankly, now's a really great time to grab both of these upgrades because you really want that extra firepower. Also, wow, that bug really took a lot of damage off of us. Yeesh. But still, the point stands. Coming back here just to grab this missile is pretty worthwhile. Because, whoopsies, spoiler, there's a missile expansion back here. So again, an extra 5 missiles for what? Maybe a minute worth of time? 30 seconds? Something like that? Not bad. Now, if you remember even further, in the beginning of this area, there was a little wall outcropping beyond these war wasps here. Frankly, let's get rid of those hives, that had another missile. So, using our newfound bombs, we can hop up into these crevices and start getting rid of these stone blocks that will allow us to get yet another missile expansion. It's honestly pretty darn worth your time to grab these. Though frankly, I kinda did this a little out of order. You'll see what I mean later. And I say later, in just a minute, but you'll get it soon. To grab another missile expansion, and if we continue to go back, there's yet another missile expansion we can actually grab, all the way back in the arena where we got the Morph Ball. So, should we go all the way back and grab that? There will be another area that we can bomb open and get another missile expansion. They hide these things all throughout the game. So, being keen-eyed and making sure you're paying attention to where they are is a pretty good idea. And yes, to be honest, I'm playing a little recklessly because frankly, I know I can take the damage. So, come down here, blow open this wall, in you go. Get yourself another missile expansion. So look at that. We went from what, 20 to 35? And a, hello there, big thing. Here, have a missile. Or 2 even. Rude little thing. But hey, it's not its fault that it's just trying to hunt and protect itself. Still, all of that for, what, 15 extra missiles? I would say that is well worth your time. And technically, if I had done things correctly, we actually should have gone the other way, because that would have gotten us a missile expansion up where that energy tank is, right up there. But I figure we'll backtrack this way, and then, rather than jumping down, we'll just go this way, back where we already would have been, grab the items up there, and then head into Magmore Caverns. A bit of a roundabout method, admittedly, but either way works. Regardless, you were going to have to go back through here again. It's just, I technically could have saved myself the trouble and only done it once. So, take your pick. I chose my way. Because frankly, I was just so excited about making sure that I got those items that I didn't want to forget I could get them. So, I did it in a bit of a goofy roundabout method. But still, it does give me another excuse to keep listening to the great music here. Even if it's mostly just a beat and some, like, kind of warbly sounds in the back, I always loved this song. So get rid of the little flies. And using our good old Morph Ball and the bombs, we can easily get back to where we were. Which, that's another thing, I gotta hand it to them. They did a really phenomenal job of connecting all of these areas for making backtracking really accessible. Seriously, this game is so well put together that if you need to get anywhere, there's usually several routes you can take to get there. So, keep it in mind. But, with all that gained, rather than going down into Magmore, shoot this door open, and go through here. Here you'll find this little, I guess, piston raising platform? Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Point is, if you don't miss it going back up, you can take it on up to this nice little morph ball hole, and go through another morph ball hole. Of course, it can never be that simple. But, going all that way, you find another missile expansion and some Chozo lore to boot. Chozo script translated. Our sanctuary grows by the day. We Chozo know much of technology, but we have chosen to leave it behind on this journey. Our home here on Talon 4 will be a place of simplicity. Structures hewn from the stone, bridges woven with branches, hallways caressed by pure waters. We build around the ancient and noble trees, drawing from their strength and giving them our own in return. All that is wild will flow around us here. Our race will be just one more group of creatures in the knit of nature. It is our hope that such a state will bring with it great wisdom, a greater understanding of the nature of the universe. Once our city here is complete, we will peer inward and discover the truth. Which, honestly, a fairly noble purpose. Ooh, what is this? This appears to be the first of 3 locking mechanisms that seal the gate. The lock is active, but its key slot is sealed by a weak metal grating. Appears to be the second of 3 locking mechanisms that seal the gate. The lock is active, but its key slot is sealed by a weak metal grating. And right here, this appears to be the third of 3 locking mechanisms that seal the gate. The lock is active, and its key slot is open. Notably, too, you can also identify this. These metal gates block entry to the center of the room, which should have been fairly obvious. Now, I believe what you're supposed to do is simply bomb these open. This is trying to teach you a new technique called bomb jumping. By placing one bomb, placing another as you reach, or as you're about to jump up, and then get, my goodness. Let me just restart the thought. By placing a bomb, placing another before it explodes, and then placing a bomb at the apex of your height, you can effectively chain together 2 concussive bomb blasts to allow you to gain extra height on the morph ball. While it's not required to beat the game, it will be a required technique in order to gain extra items, including energy tanks. So, you're going to want to make sure you know how to do that pretty darn well. And with all that, we get another missile expansion. I believe putting us at 40? Wouldn't you know, through here we have some beetles. Nothing too crazy, but still. I always loved this room. I always thought this rock kind of looked like some meteor. And plus, it shimmers. It always just looked so cool. Again, another just one of those things you note as a kid and always think about. Here's that pesky energy tank. Now, ideally, you grab it and walk back, because if you go through that door, it'll reseal on you. So, that's what I meant by, technically, I should have gone this way and then backtracked to get back here and grabbed all the items that way. But, you can just do it like I did it. Not really a big deal, just, well, it'll save you some time. If nothing else. You know, don't know why I unmorph balled there. I should have known better. But, it's all good. And then with that, finally, let's go down into Magmore Caverns, shall we? Specifically, the north end. Which, interestingly, Magmore Caverns is a really big in-between area. It has a lot to it. but it's mostly here for gaining items and getting you to other locations. Because if we press A on our map, you can see that it's this weird like hex system with Talon Overworld here, Chozo Ruins here, and then ultimately Magmore all the way here. This is going to lead to several areas that all kind of loop back on one another. So this is going to be basically your transportation hub, weirdly. Now what's nice is that it has some darn good music. Though you can't really hear it now, because it's starting. You'll know what I mean in just a minute. Through here, which unfortunately will ruin the music, we have a nice little save point. Beautiful. Which of course, as always, make sure to save your game. But I figure before we end off the video, let's go into this room, get rid of these shriek bats, identify a new enemy. Morphology, the Grisby, subvolcanic carrion feeder. Carapace can be breached by missiles. The Grisby's carapace has been fused together by superheated air. This barrier stands up to everything but concussive blasts. Its intelligence is limited to instinctive scavenging patterns. Figured we'd read him while we wait for the music. Because as you can hear, those big drum beats, that slow build-up, it's so darn good. And the further you go, it continues to have that low hum and moan. Almost like you know there's some power down here. Like you're getting real close to something super serious. But you never quite find it. And here we have yet another new enemy. These guys are a little annoying. But these are burrowers, tunneling insect predators. The burrower is similar to the beetle, though it prefers to spend more time underground. It seeks seismic disturbances, then surfaces to attack. It has enough cunning to realize when something is too large for it to handle. Beyond that, it is fairly ignorant. What it lacks in brains, it makes up for with aggression. I want to say, coming up, once you enter this room, you get that song that everyone remembers. The Song of Magmore Caverns. And another new enemy. Morphology, the Magmore, fire-breathing serpent that dwells in lava. Magmores prefer extreme heat zones and are susceptible to frigid attack forms. Sightless, they navigate the lava currents using their sonar receptors. Magmores have a keen sense of smell, enabling them to pinpoint targets with startling accuracy. And so I figured, let's get to some darn good music, take out our first Magmore, and then, next time we play Metroid Prime, we'll get through Magmore Caverns and see just where it leads. As always, I'm Brad. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.